Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online Series 9 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. We kicked off the brand new format yesterday, and we had a really crazy episode yesterday. If you haven't seen those games, I'd highly recommend it. And the first team today actually reminds me a little bit of that first team from yesterday, where there's just a lot of really cool Pokemon. Honestly, the start of the season I always find to be like the toughest, just because climbing from Great Ball to Master Ball tier, you run into just so many different wild teams and a lot of cool team comps as well, right? I mean, here we've got Raichu, Koko, and Electivire, as well as the Tangrowth. So once again, a lot of unconventional things here. This team does play pretty heavily around Moltres normally, but with 3 electric types, I think AV Metagross is the clear winner. So we're going to want to play towards that. I've seen Electivire before. You know, you can use Discharge into activating it. It's actually a pretty strong max option as well. We can Light Screen or Reflect with this thing. I feel like I should bring Feeny just for terrain. Here's what I want to go with. Grimmsnarl, Spectre, or Metagross for sure. Sylveon's not bad just for Hyper Voice. Feeny would be for terrain control. I'm gonna bring Feeny for terrain control just because my opponent has 3 Pokemon that can really take advantage of electric terrain, so we'll see. Either way, details for this team are in the description below. Thanks so much as always for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoyed, please share, support by leaving a like. And question of the day, with us starting with Series 9, I want to know if you think it feels any different than from when you all played Series 7, if you played Series 7. My answer is, I don't know, I mean, Series 7, like, definitely was not fully explored, so I'm not sure I could say yes or no to that, but it is definitely been interesting, and we've run into some really cool teams to start things off, so that's always a pleasure as well. So it's going to be Koko and Lapras. I was kind of expecting Electivire, but I think I'm okay with this. I mean, it's a pretty free Light Screen turn 1, at least. We can Light Screen Snarl. Because the whole thing is we want to set up Metagross, right? We want to weaken my opponent's team to the point where Metagross can sweep through. Lapras isn't that much of a problem, considering that we have the Tapu Fini, which can just Calm Mind up in front of it. So, I definitely don't mind starting off with Light Screen. And it's between Snarl and Shadow Ball here. Like, Shadow Ball just for damage, but I think I'm okay with the Snarl to kick things off. Yeah. Just between the combination of Light Screen and Snarl, they're going to max, which I'm honestly okay with as well. I'd rather see something max now than, like, I don't know. I thought max Electivire was actually the biggest threat for my opponent's team comp here. And so it's going to be Lapras maxing, but the good thing is through the combination of Snarl and Light Screen, like, it actually shouldn't do that much damage. Now, the annoying thing is, yes, it's going to be able to get the screens up, and so we're basically just want to try to stall out Lapras' max first. But Light Screen with Light Clay is going to be a huge help to us here. Okay. Oh, that is really neat. I didn't think about policy. Huh. I wonder if it's Choice Scarf Koko as well. Okay, they're gonna paralyze Grimmsnarl, but we'll get Snarl off. Very interesting. I don't know why my brain didn't immediately just think about weakness policy Lapras. That actually makes so much sense. Yeah, and they're gonna go for Resonance. Okay. Into Grimmsnarl. Okay, that's fine with me. I mean, it's a lot of damage for sure, but another Snarl and Lapras is basically back at neutral. And the good thing is, we can also go for a Reflect here. I can also Thunder Wave Lapras. That's actually a little bit compelling as well. What are their physical attackers? It's basically just Electivire, so I don't... Like, Thunder Wave might be worth it just for full para chances and outspeeding it with what we have in the back. I might lose both Pokemon here, though, which is scary. But I don't really think I have a choice. Well, I do have a choice. I gotta basically switch out. The question is basically, am I willing to go down 4-2 to get Feeny and Metagross in? I think I'm down to just Thunder Wave and Snarl here, because a full para onto Lapras would be really huge in the next 2 turns as well. They're going to switch out Koko, which is fine by me as well, meaning they can only get 1 potential KO here. In comes Clef, but that's okay. Metagross doesn't mind seeing that. Okay, Thunder Wave is going to connect. We're going to attack their full para, which is nice as well. And Snarl's going to connect as well. Cool. So Lapras is back in neutral now, and we have Light Screen, and they have to deal with Paralysis. If they get full parried here, honestly, or the next turn, like, we're in really good shape. No full para, they are going to get the Max Geyser off, but that's okay. And they're going to target Spectre. Wow, that actually still KO'd. I have to say, I'm actually kind of surprised by that. You've got to be kidding me. The RNG train just continues. There's no way that KOs without the crit, given that we had, there was that neutral and we had light screen up. It's actually a really big crit, because without that, I basically have wasted 3 turns of Lapras' max just for it to pick up 1 KO, so... Can't say I'm very pleased about it, but it is what it is. Late game Koko Raichu is very scary. That's actually a really big critical hit, because it forces me to either bring in Metagross or the Grimmsnarl. I don't really want to bring out either right now. Sorry, Metagross or the Feeny. We can Calm Mind here pretty easily and Spirit Break at least. But, yeah, it's definitely not the most exciting turn. Helping Hand Max Lightning here would make a lot of sense. It shouldn't KO us, though. Especially with Light Screen and with the Calm Mind up. Definitely a frustrating turn, though. Last turn. Yeah, no full para either. They're gonna get Lightning off. But that does less than half, which is quite nice. Now, the scary thing is that they have set up terrain, but, like... Okay, I think what's scary now is how they're gonna try to get Tapu Koko in safely. We got Spirit Break, though, which is nice. So, like, I'm not doing much damage to Lapras, but that's okay. This next turn, though, is pretty interesting. Because if you're my opponent, you might want to consider switching out into Tapu Koko immediately. Lapras is at -1, so it's not really doing that much damage, even if you go, like, Helping Hand Thunder. We're slowly stalling out their turns of screens, which is really valuable. We have 5 turns of Light Screen left. They only have 2 turns of Aurora Veil. So I like the idea of switching out into Metagross here. And, I think Protect here is fine. My only issue with Protect is if they switch out Lapras into, like, Koko, and then they can Helping Hand target Tapu Fini the next turn. But it looks like they're not going to... Well, they might be switching Clef out, actually, but we'll see. If they whiff with Thunder into Protect, that'd be really good for us. Oh, no, they are slower. Okay, so they are going to pull the switch into Koko. Yeah, that's a great switch on their end. I'm curious if they can KO my... Ooh, double switch. Okay, and then Raichu? No, it's Electivire. Okay, that's really cool. So it is Electivire here in the back. Now, this is actually very interesting, right? Because Muddy Water does not go off. Or sorry, Protect doesn't go off because there was nothing to protect against. So it's the last turn of AV for their end. They have Terrain up. They have Reflect. They're going to Discharge here, presumably. Target Metagross. I'm leaning towards just maxing, Quaking into Tapu Koko, and then protecting with the Feeny here. I had an opportunity to just Moonblast or Muddy Water this last turn, and I think I should have. Like, we once again have put ourselves in a position for the late game Dynamax, but the scary thing is that because of that critical hit, I've lost more resources than I really would have liked at this position in the game. So, yeah. Let's see, in terms of Pokemon choice, I could add Sylveon over Feeny, but I don't regret bringing Feeny here. Like, the one play I really wish I made is just Moonblasting and Muddy Watering last turn, but that's okay. Discharge shouldn't do much, but I'm worried about Paralysis right now. That's the main thing. And late game Electivire is actually looking really scary right now as well. That does nothing to Metagross, though. Nice. Okay, and they Thunder Punch into Feeny. Okay, so that's a good turn. That's a very good turn. Now we're just trying to sweep with Metagross in this endgame. Roar Veil's going to wear off after this turn. I don't know if Max Quake KOs here. It does not. That's actually really bad. Okay. My other question is what item the Metagross has here. I think I have to switch Feeny out here, unfortunately. And that's the bummer. Kind of a waste of a Calm Mind in the end. I also don't know if Max Quake KOs the Electivire here, but I think we have to switch out here to reset terrain. The nice thing about resetting terrain is Feeny will win the endgame decently easily if we KO Electivire with Koko as chipped as it is, because Bullet Punch will KO that. Metagross, does pretty well into Clef and Koko. But this is where if I just Muddy Water or Moonblasted last turn, like Moonblast onto Lapras I think was the best play the last turn. Yeah. They're going to do a chunk of damage here. Once again, we're still hoping to avoid a full para. Wow, we actually survive on Metagross. Crits us. Okay. They are just going to Thunder Punch once again into Feeny. Okay, good. That's fine as well. Definitely a couple of unfortunate crits this game, but I have to say at least we're fortunate no full para came out, and they are Life Orbs. So I'm hoping if Max Quick one-shots here, I think Metagross is in really good shape for this endgame. Okay, nice. We got rid of Electivire. That was actually the biggest threat on my opponent's team, in my opinion. Just as I was talking about crits, we get one in return. I don't know the calc on that. I'm thinking it would KO, especially with Life Orb Chip. But there's a chance that it could have survived with a sliver of HP. I don't know my Electivire EV spread super well, but now we're in pretty good shape. We get Feeny back in. Terrain is still... we changed Terrain. We're at +2 Spadef with Metagross, so it's really difficult for my opponent to KO Metagross right now. They're going to bring in Lapras, which I'm also okay with. Okay. So we changed the terrain and we still have Light Screen up. So now the question with Feeny is, like, do I want to attack? Do I want to Calm Mind? If you're my opponent, I would switch Koko out into Clefairy right now. I like the idea of Calm Minding with Feeny here, honestly. Because Discharge really shouldn't do that much. So go for a third Max Quake and a Calm Mind here. Because they're entirely special attackers now. If they make the switch, alright, they just go for Discharge. That's fine. Yeah, that does no damage to us. Can't para us now because of Terrain being up, which is perfect. We'll get Calm Mind off. We'll KO Koko. And once again, this is the upside of if you can actually stall out your opponent's Dynamax for the late game. But the crits made this game a little bit scary. Mainly the one on Spectre, because it forced me to bring Feeny a little bit early, and that meant my opponent actually had Terrain control. But you can see how good AV Metagross was in this set. Like, just took no damage from Koko or Lapras. Snarl in the early game was once again valuable. So I think the Spectre on this team is really cool, just because, you know, in Series 7, a lot of players used offensive Spectre, and supportive Spectre you would see, especially, you know, Bulldoze into, like, Metagross, for example. But the Snarl is actually a real big difference maker with this set specifically. So they're going to go for Thunder. It is going to hit outside of rain, but yeah, that does not come close to knocking us out. And the nice thing with Terrain is that you don't have to deal with Paras, so that's good as well. But Policy Lapras is really cool here, honestly. I don't know why I didn't see it immediately in team preview, or when my opponent led it. I was just too honed in on the Electivire, I think. But these have been some really cool teams, so props to my opponent. Lapras can still win this theoretically with some crits, but beyond that, I think it's looking pretty solid for us, especially Metagross at +3. Last turn Light Screen, and we're at +2 Special Defense. So we have Rock Slide, so I honestly don't mind just going for Rock Slide and Moonblast. Clefairy is absolutely useless for my opponent right now. It can't even go for something like Sing. Rock Slide covers for potential ally switch. That's actually something I ran into while playing a game yesterday just for fun on Clefairy, and it was like, I thought I had the game 100% won, and then ally switch Clefairy came out. So yeah, Rock Slide can miss, but so can Meteor Mash, right? And it also gives me a flinch chance as well. So you always double up onto Lapras here. That's actually enough to just KO. Nice. Just because Clefairy cannot do a single thing here. Like, the worst thing is, I guess, crit Moonblast into Tapu Fini, but even then, I don't think that's enough for a knockout. So there's really not too much reason to worry about it. In the end, though, I'm very glad I brought Fini, because I think Electric Terrain would have been too much of an issue if we didn't. And you can see how valuable, once again, like Clay Grimmsnarl is. I feel like Likely Grimmsnarl has just really defined the meta, especially in the last couple of formats. It's just so good. We don't actually need a risk of miss. We can just Bullet Punch here and Moonblast, but yeah, in the end, Raichu not being in the back for my opponent was actually really good for us as well. I think if they had Raichu over Clefairy, they just would have had triple offense into my Tapu Fini. But of course, if you bring 3 electric types, then you're super, super weak to ground type attacks, right? That's why Metagross was here on the team in the first place. So yeah, we can actually check their teams. I'm super curious. It was Sash, Raichu with Nasty Plot. That could have been really scary. Cobaberry, Tangrowth. This is definitely a really, really cool team. Kudos to my opponent. Yeah, Policy Lapras, Hydro Pump, Life Orb Electivire, 4 attack. Didn't have any defense, so I'm thinking Max Quick would have one-shot it. It was Choice Scarf Koko, yeah, that's what I thought. That makes sense. That way you can give Electivire speed boost if you lead Electivire Koko. Yeah, Classic Clefairy here, Special Defense invested. Which is why I took so much damage from Rock Slide. So, yeah. I don't know, I always love going up against teams like that, and Game 1 yesterday reminded me of this team as well, and both of these games were pretty darn close, so yeah, definitely some fun games, and like I said at the start, I think the beginning of the season is always really scary, because you run into a lot of really, really wild stuff, and like, I think like most players will tell you they'd prefer to go up against a more standard team, just because like you at least know what's coming your way, versus stuff that like isn't standard, right? But it's funny because I think yesterday was all about Galarian Moltres, and today it's not about it at all. Like, Galarian Moltres isn't great here either into Rotom, Togekiss, Excadrill, and T-Tar. In fact, that's like and Whimsicott, actually. And Goodra. It's like as anti-Moltres as possible, actually. So, that's interesting. Steals are really scary here. There's a lot of potential setup. Nasty Plot on Rotom, Swords Dance on Excadrill. I've even seen Nasty Plot Togekiss before. Metagross feels like the right answer, but the thing is it really has to respect Rotom-H, which is a big problem for us as well. Sylveon with Yawn is actually really interesting to me here, especially because we have the Babiri Berry, and if we can Yawn whatever Dynamax is on turn 1, it gives us a huge advantage. This one's tough because Spectre is so valuable for Will-O-Wisp as well. If you're my opponent, I think you play towards Rotom, and you try to Nasty Plot with it. Maybe I don't bring Grimmsnarl then, but screens are just so darn good for us, as always. Like, I want to go Grimm, Sylveon, Metagross. It could be Spectre over Feeny, but I feel like Feeny's just actually... like, if Feeny can get a Calm Mind up and we get screens up, Feeny can actually be a very strong max option here. So, yeah. Scary team, though. Goodra's very scary. I really wanted both Spectre and Grimmsnarl here. It's just so hard to say no to, like, 8 turns of screens, right? Crit Kiss could be pretty interesting, though, because that could actually ignore the screens, and there it is. There's Togekiss, okay. But here's the thing, right? I have Yawn, so the thing is, it's pretty easy to just light screen Yawn Togekiss turn 1. If you are Crit Kiss, like, that's actually really good for us, because you just fall asleep after the next turn. I'm not even sure a Crit Max Airstream KO Sylveon from this position right now. So, the question is whether or not it's worth it to light screen. It might be better the Thunder Wave if we're expecting Crit Kiss anyway. Just because it gives us a 25% chance of Para immediately. Oh, no, but then the Yawn doesn't work. Never mind, that's silly. Yeah, let's just go light screen and Yawn. I think it might be Crit Kiss, and then it's basically, do you... Oh, wow, okay. They don't go for... Wait, what is... Oh, Whimsicott's just Moonblasting. Huh, okay. That is interesting. That's smart. No Tailwind, no need to Tailwind. Great decision to not max there, so let's see if they are Crit Kiss. Yeah. Okay. Then they double crit. The thing is, Crit Kiss is a really smart solution into... it was really smart by my opponent, by the way, to not max, because you actually get more value from Dazzling Gleam anyway. What's interesting, though, now is that I've gotten a Yawn off, right? And I can bring in Tapu Fini and pretty easily Calm Mind Hyper Voice. The thing is that I might get hit by a Taunt. We're in a really interesting spot now where, like, I can get a really good offensive switch in immediately. Feeny, even with a single Calm Mind, is just so good right now. But not getting Reflect Up is actually very bad for us as well, because they have T-Tar and Excadrill. If I'm my opponent, I'm honestly taunting here. They don't have a switch into Hyper Voice and Muddy Water, right? Yeah, they don't. Okay. As much as I like as tempting as it is to try to get the Calm Mind off here, I think I'd rather just attack. Especially because we know Togekiss is hit by Yawn, right? So you either stay in and, like, take the sleep, or you switch out and something eats up a Hyper Voice and a Muddy Water, and there's nothing that can switch into that combination. Everything takes super effective damage from at least one of the two. Alright, they just end up staying in. That's fine with me. That's actually very fine with me. Let's see if Togekiss crits again. Gosh. That's a double crit again? Oh my goodness. Okay. That's fine. I honestly don't want to KO with Hyper Voice right now. Like, if both of these remain with a little bit of HP, that's good for us. But hey, you know, if you're looking for a solution against Grimmsnarl, you should consider Crit Kiss, because it does exactly what you just saw it do. So now my question is whether or not the Whimsicott is Taunt, because if it doesn't, we can actually just get a couple Calm Minds off right now, which is really valuable. Once again, the only downside is I didn't get Reflect Up, and if they didn't create Grimmsnarl turn 1, we get both screens up. That sets us up so well for the end game. So I'm just going to Calm Mind here, and Hyper Voice, I think. Okay, no Taunt coming out, which is really nice. They're just going to Moonblast Sylveon, which is fine. Doesn't do that much. No special attack drop. Togekiss takes the turn of sleep. Mystical Fire here could have been pretty interesting into Togekiss. Just to actually prevent my opponent from getting a free switch in, and then like potentially picking up a double KO. That could have been really cool, actually. Yeah, but it is enough to KO Whimsicott there. So we have Metagross in this endgame. We have Feeny at +1 with Light Screen up. And it's near full HP still, which is good too. Yeah, Crit Kiss is what, 50% chance to crit one move, so the fact that crit all 4 Dazzling Gleams was, Tyranitar comes in. Yeah, the odds of that aren't super high, honestly, so whatever. The thing about Tyranitar coming in here is interesting, because I feel like you'd want Rotom-H, right? But they don't want to bring Rotom-H in immediately. So the play I honestly lean towards here is to actually just protect. I don't want to Hyper Voice, because I really don't want to activate that policy. The question is, like, do I think my opponent's going to KO Sylvia on this turn? Because if they do, I can just switch in Feeny. Metagross immediately. Like, I lean towards going for Protect here and going for Mystical Fire in this position onto Togekiss. They're going to Max T-Tar, yeah, I'm fine with that. Because Max T-Tar's, well, it's decent against us. I don't know if they know that we're AB rather than Policy. But Metagross can match it pretty well into this. I can just Steel Spike its partners. Terrain is up, meaning even if you have Rotom-H, you can't Will-O-Wisp Metagross, and we have Max Rockfall to hit Rotom as well. But at this point, I'm honestly thinking we Dynamax Feeny, because we have 1 extra turn of Max relative to our opponent. But this is where setting up Reflect could have helped us out a lot. Okay, Togekiss manages to stay asleep for another turn, so that's nice. They are faster with Tyranitar, okay, and they're going to Rockfall here. So I had the opportunity to switch into... I don't know if it was correct. I was going to say, I had the opportunity to switch Sylveon out here into Metagross immediately. That's not going to KO. I feel forced to max Feeny here, unfortunately, I think. Because otherwise I just... Oh, I could switch Feeny out, but then I give up my Calm Mind boost. I think I should have just switched, protected and switched Sylveon out that turn. Yeah, I'm going to Geyser here into Togekiss, and I'm going to switch out into Metagross here. But I feel like I could have capitalized off this last turn more. Now I have to, like, now I'm forced to max the Feeny. I think if anything, actually, I should have just maxed Feeny last turn and just Geyser to KO Togekiss. I like that play the most, actually. Geyser and switch out there, because then that changes the weather if we're slower than Tyranitar. Even if it doesn't, whatever. I don't take that much damage. And I ended up eating up, like, what, 15% through Protect, and that's, like, not great. So, like, you know, I'd rather have preferred to max Feeny when I had, like, 100%, not 67%. But we do get fortunate with sleep turns here as Togekiss takes yet another turn. And they are faster with Tyranitar, which means I do win the Weather War here. How much do they do? 250 down to 154, so just under 100. We'll heal back from leftovers, we'll change the weather, and we have 1 more extra turn of max to work with as well. So all of those are good things for us. Pretty easy to just max guard Feeny this last turn to stall out Tyranitar's last turn of max. Bullet Punch here on Metagross is actually pretty valuable in the endgame scenario as well. So let's see what my opponent's last one is. But you can see if I had Reflect up... oh, I forgot they had Tailwind up this whole time. Right. we probably outspeed T-Tar then, I would think. Is that Rotom-H coming in? Yeah. I think it always has to be Rotom. Alright, well, I'm going to Geyser here, I think. And... I could Protect, but I can't risk Rotom Nasty Plotting in front of us. So I'm going to Rock Slide and Geyser. Okay, they go for T-Bolt. Nice. And they target Metagross. Oh, I think they're trying to double up into it, but... Yeah, that will certainly guarantee us the win now. And we are faster with Feeny. Okay, good. I mean, this is why you, like, just really don't want to tilt if you get crit, right? Like, we got crit 4 times by Crit Kiss, but in the end, that damage wasn't, like, super, super key anyway. And you just want to play towards your win conditions. Yeah, they doubled up. Okay. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to max guard Feeny there, because, one, I figured we'd be faster anyway. Darkness is actually enough for a KO, impressively enough, but it's not max Metagross. And, yeah, imagine if I Protect Feeny there, and they actually just get that KO, then my Dynamax ends in a turn, so then they can Protect Rotom the next turn. Now we just have Feeny and Sylveon against a Tyranitar that's outside of Dynamax. And we know we're faster than Feeny, so Geyser's a guaranteed win. I don't think my opponent has any shot here. Unless, the only way I could see them winning is if it actually is a speed tie between Feeny and Tyranitar. And then we Geyser activate Policy. It's actually kind of scary, but I don't think we try to play around that option. 110, 81. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we still just go for Geyser here and Hyper Voice. If it's actually, like, the way they can win is if it's a speed type between T-Tar Feeny. I was going to say, it's a speed type between T-Tar Feeny. I Geyser into Tyranitar's Protect. It activates Weakness Policy, and then they outspeed us. And then Rock Slide double KOs the next turn. I just don't remember if we had 100% confirmation T-Tar and Feeny didn't speed tie there. Because this Feeny isn't, like, max speed. Now, Feeny is naturally faster than Tyranitar, so I'd be very surprised if they were the exact same speed stat there, but you never know. But even with that, there's, like, really no way to play around it, so we still just go for the play that we did, I think. Yeah, because we have to activate Policy somehow, and if they're faster, they could Rock Slide flinch us, so yeah. I mean, the question is, of course you can Max Guard Feeny there, but with no reason to think like Tyranitar is actually going to speed tie us there. It just doesn't make much sense. But these are like the things you want to consider in the end game, because you never want to throw away a win when you basically have a game locked up, right? Okay, last match of the day. A lot of special attackers here. Once again, I mean, setting up screens, like, I love the Grimmsnarl Spectre. Like, Snarl and Spectre is actually so good for this team. It's just so nice. I feel like we should probably play towards Moltres in this one. So, like, early Grimmsnarl, Spec lead, Moltres, and then one of Feeny or Metagross. Feeny, like, it might seem weird, but it's like if I actually can get a Calm Mind up for free, it can actually just sweep through. Metagross doesn't actually do that much damage here, so I think it's Feeny, actually. You can make an argument for Sylveon, because they have Landorus and Rotom. Those aren't grounded. But honestly, really, let me lower the webcam a bit. I was gonna say, I really just love the Spectre Grimmsnarl lead, because it just gives you, with the combination of Will-O-Wisp and Snarl and Spectre, and then screens on Grimmsnarl, you just set up the Feeny or the Moltres for success so well in the end game. It'd be interesting to have like one strong physical attacker that could like set up, like maybe a Swords Dance user here, but it's not completely necessary. So okay, they're gonna go Dusclops plus Venu. Dusclops plus Venu, okay. Pretty easy to just light screen Snarl turn one. Like, there's very little downside to that. Yeah, I'm down for that, I think. I have Taunt on Spectre, so I could Taunt Dusclops. But I feel like Trick Room going up isn't even that bad, because I can just bring in Feeny and then Calm Mind up under Trick Room, right? So, like, yeah. Like, if we get them to max Venusaur and we end up light screening and snarling turn one, it's great for us. But they make the good decision to not max Venu, which is smart. I will say with this lead, you often don't feel the need to max, right? Because it's like, I'm not applying that much offensive pressure anyway. But yeah, I'll take a Snarl onto Venusaur. That did 25%. Onto both, actually, and that's pretty nice. Are they Sleep Powdering here? Okay. That's fine. I mean, I could have taunted Venu there. I don't mind starting the game off with the Snarl, though, and then they're going to Trick Room. Yeah, I mean, Trick Room's okay, because, like, Venusaur's not really that scary to me right now. And I can Spirit Break it. I guess the question is whether or not this Dusclops has Haze. But, because you're not going to max Venu at this point. They just go for Will-O-Wisp. Okay, so we've seen Will-O-Wisp, we've seen Trick Room, Nightshade. Normally Pain Split, so that makes me think you don't have Haze, but I'm not 100% sure on that yet. Either way, this Venu's at -2 special attack. And yeah, we're asleep, yeah, we're burnt, but like, I still favor our position more. Because once again, if we can get Feeny out safely and just Calm Mind a bunch, that's also really nice. 2-2 down to 141. I think it's better to just reflect this next turn to guarantee that we have Reflect up for the remainder of the game. Because they do have a bunch of physical threats. I'm down to Reflect and Taunt here, actually. We don't need to keep snarling. They switch out Venu. Okay, that's fine by me. Torkoal coming in would make a lot of sense, but it's going to be Metagross. Okay, also fine by me. Because the thing is now, if you didn't target Spectre and I managed to wake up next turn, I can Will-O-Wisp the Metagross, which is really nice. Now, they might have... Oh, that's actually... That's a problem. That's going to be a problem. I didn't even consider Policy. That was sweet. Yeah, that's going to be an issue for us. They got Metagross in a perfect position. And Metagross isn't really that scary unless it has Policy activated. There's only 2 turns of Trick Room left, though, so they can't actually do that. The other thing is, we've taken 2 turns of Sleep with this thing already. Like, we could theoretically max this in the end game. If you're my opponent, I would max and either Steel Spike or Quake into Spectria right now. Moltres also works as our endgame. Okay, I don't mind T-Waving Metagross here just for full para chances. And I don't think Feeny provides us that much value at this point in the game. There is an argument to make to just sacrifice Spectria here, though. I actually think I should have just... Okay, the reason this was a bad play, I didn't even think about it, was because now my Thunder Wave doesn't work. So... But I don't know. Like, the thing is, we can bring in Moltres next turn, max it, and then max Darkness. But they got Metagross in such a good position, so that was really well positioned by them. Yeah, I needed to prevent that from happening. I could have just taunted turn 1 onto Dusclops. So it's Bulldoze, Trick Room, Will-O-Wisp, and probably Nightshade. So it's probably no Pain Split Dusclops either. Now, Moltres can definitely pull off a comeback in this game. So, like, I don't even feel that... Like, this Thunder Wave was obviously a waste, though, so that was silly. Oh, there's no Nightshade on Dusclops. Okay, very interesting. Yeah, they're going to Pain Split Steel Spike it. Oh, Feeny, you're so clutch. Are you serious? Hangs on with 1 HP with the Reflect. Okay. That's huge. Okay. Yeah, I think I should have just given up Spectria. If Spectria had taken 3 turns of sleep, I think it's worth conserving it, but given that it hasn't, it's not really worth it. I guess Feeny faints here anyway, but, like, that's okay. I mean, I guess I'll Spirit Break here. It just comes down to... Actually, if I lose both Pokemon here, it's still pretty bad. If I sack Spectrier that last turn, I bring in Feeny, then I protect Feeny, bring in Moltres, and it's Moltres plus Feeny with... They go for Will-O-Wisp. Okay. Covering for a switch, I suppose. Get Spirit Break off for basically no damage. So no Nightshade Dusclops. That's really interesting. Yeah, they're going to Quake here into Feeny, presumably, for a Spadef boost. Okay, that special defense boost might be a problem as well. The thing is, do I bring out Spectrier? They're going to just get another Trick Room up. I think I need to taunt Dusclops. I should have just taunted turn 1, I think. I didn't think Trick Room was a problem because we had Feeny, but I didn't think about Bulldoze, Dusclops plus Weakness Policy Metagross. It's not even that crazy of a combo, but just it's been a while since I've seen that. The thing is, Grimmsnarl is so useless for me right now. Like, after setting up screens and getting burnt, Spirit Break doesn't do any damage, and my opponent's so bulky right now. It just feels like I'm hoping to wake up here, get a taunt into Dusclops, and then try to 1v4 with Moltres in this endgame, which certainly can happen, but I think I fell behind a little bit too much in this one, so... And if we don't wake up here, it should just... Like, my opponent should just win, because they get Trick Room up again. Yeah, we take a 3-turn sleep, but I had a 3-turn sleep in that last game, so I'm not really one to complain here. I just didn't prevent the Metagross setup well enough, honestly. That was the main thing. I guess theoretically Moltres could still win this, but I think it's too late at this point. Although... Oh no, this doesn't work. Wait. Does self-targeting work with Prankster? Dark-type? I don't think it does, but I've actually never seen that interaction before, and we could also just self-Spirit Break to activate our own policy, which actually isn't terrible. Wait, okay, yeah, this is actually still definitely winnable with Moltres. Like, Moltres could actually 4v1 because we stalled their Dynamax and we hit pretty much everything for super effective damage, and we still have screens up. Because this next turn I'm going to self-Spirit Break, I think, and max Darkness into Metagross. Oh, does that even KO, though? Because we lower our own special attack. Yeah, we get Policy up, but at what cost? They're +1. Can we one-shot from that range? I don't think so, unfortunately. But I don't know if I can risk Nasty Plotting here. Alright, we'll see. Moltres was absolutely the right Pokemon to play towards in this game, but I just didn't put it in a great... Like, I fell behind too much once again. Since we had Tauntaun Spectre, it's always best to just taunt Dusclops turn 1, I think. Throwing away Feeny might have been a little bit careless as well, but... Spectre had a lot of value in this game outside of Trick Room. And they just go for Will-O-Wisp, that's fine. We're gonna go for Spirit Break. Activate our own weakness policy. I don't know, though. I like really would have liked a Nasty Plot here. But I feel like a Meteor Mash just does so much damage. Oh, they targeted Grim. If I actually Nasty Plotted... Well, if we one-shot Metagross, I absolutely think Moltres can sweep through right now, but I just don't think we do. It's basically just a regular Max Dark. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, never mind. I don't know why I thought Metagross would survive, but I feel like I just expect to be so bulky. We know Dusclops' moveset. It's Pain Split, Will-O-Wisp, Trick Room, Bulldoze. So it's not really a threat. We can't actually do damage, so all we have to do is target around it right now. Moltres is at +1 special attack, and with each max darkness, it can lower my opponent's special defense as well. I don't care about Dusclops right now. We know it doesn't have Ally Switch, so all we have to do is target Dusclops' partner. Bring out Venu, okay. We're not max speed Moltres. I'm just nervous. Yeah, I mean, like, they're still slower and they just sleep powder us here. We don't need to Airstream here. I'd rather max Darkness. Darkness should KO. So, it's actually, yeah, big question here. Who's faster between Moltres and Venusaur? They're gonna Pain Split. That's fine. Oh, we're burnt! Never mind, hold on. Because we're burnt, yeah, they couldn't sleep powder us. Yeah, that's another KO. Okay, okay. Let's see what the last one is now. I mean, Torkoal makes sense, right? So then oh, is Light Screen about to wear off? I think it might be, right? This is actually so close. Oh, that might be enough. I mean, the thing is, once again, Dusclops doesn't do enough damage, though. So basically the question is, can your last Pokemon do enough? Because even if we don't one-shot them, we can Max Darkness, Protect, and Fiery Wrath. It is Torkoal. How many turns of Trick Room are left? I don't think Eruption KOs. There's no way. We're at 313 HP. Yeah, there's 2 turns of Trick Room left, so I think the right play, we just Darkness here into Torkoal, Protect, Fiery Wrath. We just need to survive Eruption here. That's basically the main thing. Wait, what? Why'd they do that? Man, Moltres is actually going to pull off the forward. This is what I was saying. This Pokemon has insane comeback potential if you put it in the right position to succeed. I just didn't know if I had full faith in it. Okay, now I guess the only downside is if Dusclops can actually survive a Fiery Wrath at -2 special defense with us being at +1 special attack. Because all we have to do now is just protect Moltres and Fiery Wrath. This is why a single Pokemon, like, you need to play towards your win conditions, right? Moltres was always the key win condition to play towards. Let me just double check the field state. Yeah, 1 turn of Trick Room, we're at +1 special attack, they're at -2 Spadef. -1 Spadef. I mean, all we do is protect here. Their way of winning is, for Dusclops to survive a Fiery Wrath after this Trick Room is over. I don't think it does, with us being at +1 special attack and them at -2 special defense. Maybe we could have survived single target Eruption there, but I really didn't want to risk it. They were going to Pain Split with their own Torkoal, but that's fine. In fact, you give your Dusclops a little bit more damage. I feel like Torkoal still faints from Fiery Wrath with that special defense drop, so let's see. It may have been correct to have targeted Dusk. I'd be really surprised if these Pokemon survive right now, but let's see. Okay, yeah, they're gonna protect with Torkoal. I mean, even if Dusclops survives, we have a flinch chance as well, but like, come on, Moltres, you can do it. Alright, there's Fiery Wrath. Yeah, I was like, there's no way. Wow, Moltres actually pulled a 1v4 comeback. This is why you don't give up on this Pokemon. A single boost can get you so far. The reason I mentioned the Self-Thunder Wave play earlier, by the way, was because then Moltres could outspeed under Trick Room potentially, but it was better to just Spirit Break to activate the policy. I think the Will-O-Wisp on their end was a little bit bad as well. I think what they should have done was maybe bring out Torkoal first, like protect the Torkoal. Well, that is tough because if I target Dusclops, yeah. I was thinking their line to win this game is by getting a Sleep Powder off into the Moltres, but they never were able to. So Fiery Rat single target here should KO. Even if not, I don't think Heat Wave. No, I don't know, maybe Heat Wave can KO, but yeah, that's enough. Wow. Let's go, Moltres. Let's go. Even at just +1 special attack, it was enough. And that's the thing, the Max Darkness comboed so quickly, and you know how in that last game, or actually in this game, like Grimmsnarl didn't do very much for me after the first couple of turns? Well, that was the case for my opponent's Dusclops as well. It just stayed in and couldn't do anything, and that's the downside of using something really supportive, especially like that Dusclops didn't have Nightshade, right? So it couldn't do any damage to us. So you often see that with Pokemon like Whimsicott, Dusclops, just any Tornadus, like any supportive stuff, for example. And effectively, this was a 2v1, so when it was Moltres, it was kind of like a 1v1. All I had to do was target down whatever was next to Dusclops. Yeah, us outspeeding the Venusaur was really nice there as well, but in the end, we had enough firepower in the late game, and to be honest, I think like even if my opponent brought in Rotom or Landorus, it's still a really tough Moltres matchup for them. So this is an example of just like pointing out a weakness in your opponent's team to one of your Pokemon and making sure you play fully towards that win condition. Early game was a little bit sloppy on my end. Feeny, if it fainted immediately, that actually would have made things a lot harder, so that 1 HP survival was really clutch as well. I think if I were to replay, it's better to just give up the Spectrier. I don't know, it's just Spectrier would have had so much value, especially if I actually managed to get the taunt off, but it's fine. The upside for us is that by my opponent setting up Trick Room, I actually got to Spirit Break the Moltres and activate that policy, and that policy makes all the difference, right? Because at +1 special attack, we one-shot everything, including that Metagross, which had a +1 special defense boost, but without it, I'm not sure we can. I don't think we can, so yeah. Shoutouts to Moltres for pulling off a really, really fun comeback here. So that's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like. Check out the team in the description below. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.